Welcome to my latest true crime Skype. In the home studio, the new setup, I've got J-Rock. This is going to be a good one because he was sent down in Arizona, my favorite state. And I watched J-Rock on 23andMe. Oh man, it must have been a few months ago now. I can't remember when it came up on my feed. And I was buzzing because you really know how to tell a good story. Since that interview, you have set up your own YouTube channel. I've watched some of your videos on that channel today. In the description box below this video, there's a link for the people watching this video. They can click down to your channel and subscribe. They can click down onto your socials and follow you on your socials. But I'd just like to get straight into this because, like I said, I've got a fondness for Arizona. Were you born in Arizona? Because Arizona is such a transitory state. A lot of people just come through.
Yes, sir. I was born here. My mother is also from here and my mother's family. So, my mother is Mexican and, I'm half white, half Mexican. Shout out to England, but my family is from the Mothershed family from England, a history of dogmen. My family moved here to South Carolina and then they ended up migrating from South Carolina to Arizona. And we've been here now for 3 or 4 generations. But that's my English roots right there. Shout out, mate. You already know.
What part of Arizona did you grow up in?
Mostly Mesa, but I bounced all over between I was born in Phoenix, grew up in Mesa as an adolescent, and then back and forth between, West Side and South Side, back and forth between Mesa. Pretty much in the 480. I currently reside in the 602 in Phoenix. I've been doing my thing, as you said. You got obviously plenty of memories here, but I got lots of buddies in Tucson. I did a lot of traveling, obviously being in the mix and, I got popped for narcotic sales. I was messing around with the coke and the ecstasy, not in the level that you were by any means, but it's so awesome talking to you, brother, because a lot of the individuals that write me and that I'm in contact with in the penitentiary in Arizona, they know who you are. They watch your videos. And, a lot of people ask me and I get messages almost every single day. A lot of the people that follow me follow you. And they always ask me, how come he was clicked up with the Mexican mafia? How is that possible? And I don't know if you've ever elaborated with that or how you got clicked up with them being white, but I would love to hear that, and I'm sure your viewers would as well.
Yeah, some people get confused and think I was clicked up with the Mexican mafia in prison, which is absolutely not the case, as you know.
Oh, okay.
I was hooked up with those guys before prison. So when I had my ecstasy ring, a lot of the stuff I was doing was in Tempe, Arizona. And I was at a party in, let me try and remember the name, Rancho Murrieta Complex in Tempe, Arizona. You familiar?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So we had multiple apartments dealing out of all those buildings. So like there'd be a stash house, people would be dealing in other apartments, would be partying in other apartments. And I was supplying the ecstasy, and this guy comes in, he's supplying the weed and the coke. G-Dog, big Mexican American guy, all tatted out. So I just got talking to him because we were both the dealers. And then a cop walks in. He says, "Nobody move." I could smell weed from outside. Grabs
I
his radio.
apologize. I
Okay, so
apologize about
I'll
that,
keep
brother. I
going.
got a
Keep going.
call. Hey,
He
do you
grabs he
know?
grabs grabs his radio. This cop like he's going to call it in. G-Dog just puts his gun to the cop, says, "The only one who's not leaving is you, MF." And we all just ran out into the night. Now, the cops came, there was like police dogs, helicopters, the whole complex, everything. But because we had so many apartments, we were able to hide him. And
Oh,
he
wow.
schooled us. He said, "Look, if the cops come, they don't have a warrant that fast. Don't answer the door. Don't turn the lights on." And they did. They came, but they just kept going. And he said, "Look, because you and your friends protected me, me and my brothers have got your back." And this was back in the 90s. This is like the mid 90s. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old, brother. I was born in 89.
Okay, you were born in 89. So you were like less than, you're probably around 10 or less when this was happening.
Yep.
So I would go over and visit his brother's house, and they're all in the heads of the New Mexican Mafia in Arizona. And I had no clue who they were. They got a rocket propelled grenade launcher on the TV. They got a screen showing all the comings and goings on the road, slabs of crystal meth, slabs of cocaine, all the different guns. And it was about 2 years into my relationship with G-Dog, because he became one of my bouncers, that I was dropping him off at his brother's house and the whole neighborhood was blacked out. And the police were out with light ones guiding the traffic, and the SWAT team. We would have been in that SWAT team raid if we got there a little bit earlier, but they were
Right.
all they all had handcuffs on, federal SWAT team, and then it showed all the mugshots on the news that night. I'm not going to name any names. I've changed G-Dog's name, but it was like, these are the heads of the new Mexican mafia, the most powerful, violent criminal organization, trying to assassinate the head of the Department of Corrections, trying to assassinate judges, assassinating witnesses, police. So that's my story about them. But when the SWAT team came for us, there was over 100 of us arrested, and we were a multicultural crew, let's say. But when you
Right.
go into the jail, that all gets straightened down. It's all races. Now, you said that you were in Maricopa County, so I'm assuming that you got a taste of Sheriff Joe Arpaio's jail.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, multiple times. I never did time in Tent City. From what I understand is if you get sentenced with a felony, you don't go there if you ever have more than a year. Unfortunately, both times, I was in county. I mean, I had done petty county time, but I would bond out and be in and out. But when I was fighting my aggravated assault case or when I was fighting my narcotics case, I was in Maricopa County. As you know, pink underwear. They say it's the world's worst jail. He feeds slop that is just the most disgusting food, as you know. They find coins in it, rocks, cockroaches. There's no coffee, no cigarettes. They don't have like the JPay screens. Like all the other jails are modernized and doing, modern technology and advancing. And he saved money on everything, buying used scraps, using donated food. But one thing he did do, the one thing that I did condone that Arpaio did, is he take care of the animals like crazy. All the animals in Maricopa County, when it's 118 degrees, he was very serious against people that were animal abusers. And they ended up just pushing the law to now where if you abuse an animal, it's a felony. Now it's not just a slap on the wrist, which I think is good. But other than that, you are correct. He had multiple hits on his head. There was $1 million hit from the Mexican Mafia. Obviously, the Mexican Mafia and the new Mexican Mafia are different. But I'm glad that you cleared that up because tons of my subscribers ask constantly, and I didn't know and I didn't want to tell them otherwise. I knew for sure that if you were in the joint and you're solid and the people that I know are saying that you were solid, then you had to have ran with the woods. So,
And the other thing I'd like to clear up is National Geographic Channel, they did Banged Up Abroad, it's called Locked Up Abroad in Your Country episode of my story. Now, what they did was they took me meeting the New Mexican Mafia story, they combined it with me going to LA to buy Ecstasy story. So they've got me going to LA. This guy, this guy opens the door, and the New Mexican Mafia are in his kitchen. So people are saying I'm full of shit because in my book I wrote the story correctly, but on the TV I'm saying I went to LA and met these guys. They didn't even tell me they were going to do that on National Geographic. They just did it. Well, I thought it was a cool production. It's on YouTube usually. It's called Raving Arizona. So how
all
old were
right.
you when you first went into MCSO?
18, 2 days after 18 years old, one of my buddies, obviously I'm not going to say names, had contacted me. We had been friends since, sixth, seventh grade. He hit me up and told me he had a couple pistols and a badass TV. We met, at a gas station. I pulled up in my little car, thought I was a little hot shit, paid him a little bit of money and I bought one of the TVs and a pistol. And after about 2 weeks or so, it was a nice TV and it had, the Sony logo on the front and I just popped that logo off so that it was all black. This is, obviously like 12 years ago or so. So the touch screens were just getting, really cool. They were finally getting nice, the plasmas or whatever. So I was all happy, my girlfriend, and it was my first little apartment. I was still a youngster. She was happy, we were doing our little thing. We thought we came up and somebody came by my house to buy a little bit of weed, one of my buddy's friends. And when he came in immediately, when he seen that TV, I just saw the look on his face. Like he knew the second he saw it where that was from. And when he left, I called my buddy and told him, look, something was fishy. Like, I don't know what the fuck was up with him, but something was up. And he told me, look, if anything happens, I'll handle that. And sure as hell, that individual ended up, so the person, the house that ended up getting broken into that I didn't even know anything about, their father posted on, social media, if anybody finds out or, gives me information, I'll give you $500. So this kid seen that post, calls this other individual's father and says, hey, I seen the merchandise. I'm pretty sure at this house, this is the address. So they come knocking at my door at like 3 o'clock in the morning with a warrant, banging. And we literally just got done having sex. My girlfriend was in a robe. I had a little pit bull puppy. And, I had no clue who it was. I'm looking out my peephole, and all I see is a whole bunch of detectives. And, they ended up coming in. They had a warrant. I cut open the back of my couch prior to them coming in and put, a laptop. And I had a couple bombs that were probably, 3-4 feet. And I just put them into the back of the couch and moved the couch back up. And what's insane is that Lamb of God, that metal band, when I put the laptop in there, it had hit play or hit the space bar or something. And when they were in there searching, you could hear Lamb of God in the couch. Me and my lady were sitting there zip tied, and you could hear, and you could like hear the metal in the couch, and they didn't say anything about it. Like, for literally, it was just playing through a metal album, and that one time did they say why the couch was playing music, and they never found any of that or about a QP of weed. But that was my first time getting, a real sentence going to county. I got possession of stolen property, and one of my buddies, Casper, happened to be with me when I got incarcerated. We had grown up, on the streets. A lot of individuals on the streets knew him. He was a lot older than me and had already been to county. So when we pulled up, and this is going to sound ignorant, this is obviously, 15 years ago or so. When they pulled up, they said, hey, what's up? Are you a Peckerwood? All the Chicano homies, all the Mexicans came up, and I said, are you a Peckerwood? And I had thought from seeing, movies like, with Martin Lawrence and all those old school like prison movies or like the movies in the South, when you would see a black guy say Peckerwood, I thought they were like calling another black guy a Peckerwood. And then later on, I thought that was like a derogatory term that a black guy called another black guy. I didn't know. I was ignorant. So when he said, hey, are you a Peckerwood? The first thing that's popping in my mind is my uncle saying, if anyone disrespects you ever or calls you a bitch, you take flight. And in my mind, I thought he was calling me, an N-word or a different version of that. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know. And, my boy was like, nah, hey, we're Woods. And they were like, hey, your people are over there. And, a lot of people trip out. I have a Hispanic last name. I have Chicano style ink all over my body, Southside, multiple different graffiti. And, when I would pull up on a new complex, they would approach me and say like, hey, what's up, homie? Like, hey, where you from, homie? Asking. And I say this often. If you're Mexican and you're not from a gang in Arizona and you go to the penitentiary and you run with the Chicanos, immediately you're going to be thought lesser than, because all the other Chicanos are either active or from a gang. They understand the lingo. They speak, they have a very distinct lingo. And, when these individuals that are Hispanic, that grow up in the suburbs, that aren't from a specific neighborhood or didn't grow up in a specific barrio, they get locked up and they don't know what's what and, this gang or that gang or who's who. And so immediately they kind of end up becoming a target. In my mind, I could have ran either or. People don't comprehend that. I could have ran with the Mexicans, and if I would have chose that, if I would have stand 10 toes tall and been a man and been respectful and, stood up for myself, they would have rode with me 100, just like the Woods did. My father is white. I didn't speak fluent Spanish, and I wasn't gangbanging, so I picked the white route, and, that's who I am. That's what it is. A lot of people like to bring up the whole racial thing, and as you know, it doesn't matter if you're Asian or African-American or Hispanic. Every race is with their own and will fight for their own. That's just how it is set up in the Southwest, in California and Arizona. That's just the politics. Don't go to prison. If you don't like it and you don't want to be segregated and you don't want to have to deal with that and have someone put a piece of steel and ruin your life and being controlled, dictating what you're going to do, just don't go to the joint. Because look at both of us, educated, had, obviously a good business sense. We could have applied that to anything. And, look at what we're doing now with the right mindset, sober. We're both, doing good. I'm doing way better than I had ever. I just had a baby girl. Everything has just been falling into order just by setting small little goals, being consistent. And the main thing was just cutting out all the negativity and all the old people that I was kicking with. Anyone that's carrying a gun or selling dope and, all the shit I had to fall back from. And, it worked for me and it could work for anyone.
All right. I'm just going to go back a bit now. What
Uh,
year did you go into the jail your first time?
um, I went into the first time I went into county jail
Yeah.
was probably like '06 or '07. And then I went to prison in 2009 and caught my number. I did
Okay.
2.5 years. Go ahead.
A lot of my viewers are out of England, so I'm just going to explain some of the terms that you're using because some people are going to be confused.
All right.
So you went in. I imagine it was pretty much the same as when I went in the jail right away. The four major divisions are the whites, the woods, the blacks. Then you've got your Mexican Americans, which are the Chicanos, and then you've got your Mexican nationals, which are the Paisas. And there's a
And then you got,
minority of Native Americans called chiefs.
yes, sir.
Okay, now you said that you are mixed race. Now you look white. So that first time when you went in, what did they come up and say to you about your race?
They came up to me and they asked me. I literally, the second that I got brought in, the cops literally popped the door. I was carrying my mat, a little fish, new booty, didn't know. I knew what was what from what my uncles had said and from people on the streets that I was fucking around with and running around with as a youngster. But, until you've been there, you never know. So when I stepped foot, obviously at that time, my score was lower. I wasn't max custody inmate. So I was, in a mass dorm situation. And immediately upon walking in, I was approached by 5 or 6 Mexicans, and they immediately pulled up on me, like, hey, what's up, homie? Hey, where you from, homie? And I was like, what's up? And they're like, hey, are you a Peckerwood, homie? What's up? Where you from, dog? And I was like, and my boy was like, yeah, homie, hey, we're Woods, dog. Where's our people? And he's like, hey, your people are over there. Big love. And that was that. They went and did their thing. We had to go. We sat down with the individual at that time. I'm going to make up a name. His name was Bone. He wanted to check our paperwork and make sure that we weren't a sex offender or a rat. Immediately, he took our police report. He had someone go over it, one of his little minions. They checked our police report to make sure that we weren't talking to the police or signing testifying. You can't have any arson charges. If you have an arson charge and you endanger a child or a woman, you will get got. If you molest a child or if you beat a woman or if you got a funny case like that, you're going to be dealt with. And if you told, obviously, you're going to be dealt with. Those are the main things that they're checking. After they checked out those things, Badger and I, shout out to OG Badger. You just did that interview. If you guys haven't watched that interview, go check it out. But Badger was saying, things used to be a lot different, and they were already changing when I came in. You guys are way older than me. Shit was already getting really watered down. Back in the day, when a white boy pulled up, they got the benefit of the doubt. When they pulled up, no one was thinking, oh, he's a chomo or he's a weirdo. Everyone was trying to build each other up instead of trying to knock the next white man down and make him look weak. When
What's
you
making
have,
that noise?
I don't know. I don't hear anything. I think someone was maybe calling in or something, but I don't see anything
It's
now.
like a drrr, drrr noise every like 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Let me try to turn this off real quick and see if that has something to do with it.
Okay.
I apologize about that,
That's
bro.
okay.
But after they check your stuff and make sure that you're solid, they give you a care package. They make sure that you have hygiene.
It
They
just
make
made
sure
the
that you
noise
have
again. Just made that noise
Wow,
again.
man, I don't. Can I put it on? I'm getting text messages, brother. Can I put it on airplane mode? Will that
Can you
affect us?
turn off all your notifications? Or maybe try airplane mode.
Oh no! If you do that, it'll turn everything off. But let me try to figure this
Did
out real
you
quick. One
hear it
second.
then? That noise
Yeah,
again?
yes, sir. I just heard it. I got it now. There we go.
People gonna go crazy if it does that every few minutes on this
I
video.
apologize. It's off. It's off.
Noise is off?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Sorry about that.
you were saying that back in the day they got the benefit of the doubt when you came in, but then people started to get screened more. Now you said you got a mixed tattoos on your body.
Yeah.
At the age when you first went in, did you also have like Chicano tattoos?
Yes, sir. So
What
I
what
wanted to go
what
back quick. Pardon me?
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
for it. Go for it. Go for it.
So what I was saying is, back in the day, and I'm referring, obviously before my time, in the 80s and the 90s, when a white boy came in, they were given the benefit of the doubt that they were solid. They were treated with respect. They would be given commissary, and it's just when you come in and you're new, I lace you up, and then you return the favor to the next guy. That's just how it used to be. Now people come in. And immediately someone is like, hey, that dude's, sketchy, or, there's not as much camaraderie. A lot of people are, things are different and it's not as tight knit as they used to be. Back then, until there was proof or until there was black and white paperwork to prove that that individual is no good, they were treated with respect, just like an equal until then, until there was otherwise. Now, individuals will show up into the pod and people are, putting them on shine, not giving them, not talking, not helping them, not, explaining what is what and showing them what toilets to use, because a lot of people don't comprehend or know, but, we have white toilets, there's black toilets, there's Mexicans, and if you go into their restroom or if you sit at their tables or, if you cross their area, you're going to be dealt with. And if you school these individuals and give them guidance, they'll be a lot more successful in just throwing them to the wolves. Now, people try to knock each other down instead of building each other up is what I was pretty much referring to. But yes, to answer the tattoo question, I had already pretty much had a left sleeve, all pretty much from the streets. I pretty much got my whole right sleeve, my whole chest. I already had, multiple graffiti. I had graffiti all over me, spray cans, the Virgin Mary. And a lot of people consider that Hispanic, I don't, but it is what it is. The Lady Guadalupe, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of people think that that was really Chicano style or more gangster, black and gray. And even the white boys, when I got specific cellies when I was locked up, they'd be like, "What? Are you from a Mexican hood?" And a lot of people don't comprehend the culture out here. Yeah, I love Mexican women. My mom is Mexican for one. But that when you grow up in such a diverse culture and there's so many different things, I mean, for anyone that calls me racist, they've never met me. They don't know anything about me. I mean, I love all people, you know what I'm saying? As long as someone shows respect and they're an honorable and they're a good person, I treat everybody with respect equally unless they come at me different, and that's
So you
that.
said you were in a dorm in the beginning. Were you in Durango?
Yes, sir. I was in D3 right across from the hole in Durango is where I first went.
And how did you find it living in the dorm? Did you know anybody in there, or were you like fucking looking around in the night?
Now, see, I was blessed, and I say this all the time. I was lucky from every jail to I hit to every prison, being intermingled with the people that I was with and already doing the things on the street. No matter where I touched down, I always got love. The very first pod that I touched down, shout out to my brother Corey. He's from Hayward. He's a white boy crip out in California, as real as they come. Right when I pulled up, he knew who I was. He knew my cousins from Tempe and Chandler. He swooped me up. He got me deodorant. He gave me toothpaste. He gave me a couple of envelopes, or excuse me, their postcards in Maricopa County. And, he took care of me. We ended up getting into some bullshit, and I got moved from D3, from the dorm style, to living in the warehouse in D8. Or excuse me, it was D7. And I went from a dorm of about 45 people living in 4-man cells with no cell door to moving to a warehouse. And it's got A row from G row, 3 bunks high, and there's probably about 385 people in there. And I was in a riot between the Paisas and the Chicanos, and because the whites were kind of intermixed in that when the shit popped off, it was over the hair clippers. This is years and years ago. It was super violent. The illegal Mexicans, which are the Paisas, the Mexican nationals, they wanted to use a specific set of clippers. It was the Chicanos' time. They weren't having that. They weren't going to get, punked and disrespected for their stuff, so they stood up for themselves. And the Paisas kind of acted like they were going to let it slide. And in the middle of night, maybe about like 1:45-ish, we were chopping it up, me and 2 other individuals, 2 white people and 2 Mexicans, and we were all laughing, sitting there on the edge of the bed, trying to be quiet. And out of nowhere, they rushed us, probably about, 18 to like 25 people. Out of all of them, I would say only about 8 of 9 were really aggressive and really trying to get at us. The rest were just there because they kind of had to and were just kind of pushing around. But thank God we had our backs to the wall. But they were swinging those clippers at us, man, like straight maces. Multiple of my buddies got split wide open. I got my lip busted wide open and got like 8.5 stitches. 8.5. I think I got 8 stitches in my lip. I got a massive knot to this day. It's like a marble in my mouth. But we were literally back to back. And those individuals at that time, I was eating with Chicanos. I hadn't been to prison. You know, we would cook together every day. All the Chicano homies and the whites, we would cook meals and we would make spreads every day together with our commissary. And, you know, so when we fought like that and they came in, you know, 20, 30 deep, throwing flashbangs, shooting the shotgun rounds off the SRT security response team is what SRT, we call them the Ninja Turtles, as you know. But they came in guns blazing with those massive foggers and laid us down and they zip tied everybody. And it was November. It was freezing. For Arizona, 40 degrees is crazy cold with a wind chill. And they had us out there covered in mace in our pink underwear for about 4.5 hours laying on the concrete, zip tied. My hands were so numb and blue, I literally thought that I was never going to be able to use them again. But those bonds that I made with those individuals, like, people think that going to jail isn't a place to make friends, but after you fight with someone and you're pushed into a corner and you build camaraderie with somebody like that, and you can trust your life and you feel like, you know, that you can shower safely if you know that your homeboy's out there and you guys have that respect, you know, it's pretty much like the military. It's the only thing that is even remotely close because we are at war, incarcerated. It is not a joke. And I write those individuals to this day. I do prison letters. They write me. They watch, you know, from prison, multiple races, multiple convicts watch, and they support, you know, and it's just been a blessing, this whole thing. I really appreciate you having me on here, Sean, for real. You're doing a good thing. I really like what you're doing.
I like what you're doing too. Let's just go back a bit again. Now, people don't understand how serious the gang rules are. And you said you had your hustle on in the streets, you knew some people in the jail. Were you aware of all of the gang rules? For example, could you explain to people? I'm going to ask you some things that I already know the answers to, but I just want you to explain to people who don't understand these things. Like, how serious is it if someone calls you a punk or a bitch when you're inside?
It's life or death, and I couldn't be more serious. If if at any time an officer, it could be a warden or any individual, if they disrespect you and insult your manhood and you don't step up for yourself and fight, I can promise you that that one individual that you could have won that fight or you could have taken that L. But if you step up as a man and you defend yourself and fight, you would get respect and you would probably be okay. You're going to take your knots, but turn that loss into a lesson and grow. You know, get your cardio up, do what you got to do, physically, whatever. But the thing is someone disrespects you and crosses that line and you don't reciprocate and fire and take flight immediately, because that is 100% a personal disrespect issue. If you don't, your race is going to retaliate against you, and it's going to be 10 times worse. There have been, every single day since we've been doing this video, there's probably been somebody smashed for not having heart or for not stepping up for themselves. And it's a revolving door. These individuals think that, you know, I don't know what they think, brother. My father was a Marine. I went in with the mentality, I'm coming in a man. I'm going to come out a man. I'm going to provide, you know, I'm going to hug my mom again. I'm not going to get washed up in this shit. You know, I did what I had to do. People don't comprehend, you know, I say until I'm blue in the face, but just because white boys run with other white boys and we're forced to sell with other white boys doesn't mean that you hate another race. Just because you study Norse mythology and you believe in, you know, going to Valhalla and you're into nature and you wear a hammer does not mean that you hate another race. It's heritage, not hate. There's nothing in any Odinism or Asatru or any of the Norse mythology that is anything about race. It's all about nature, the tree of life, Odin, sacrificing for your brother, being a good individual and being a stand-up man, providing for your family, treating women and children with respect. It's all good morals. People don't realize, but Christianity, I did a video recently on, you know, the pagan holiday and Christmas and all that. People don't realize that almost all of our traditions are from pagan holidays. And, you know, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. I don't know if that's the way I can put it into words. I know that there's a higher power. I pray at times. I've prayed incarcerated on the streets. And, you know, there were times where I feel if I weren't looking for that outside guidance, that I wouldn't have made it through. I'm sure that you know individuals and people that just solid people that aren't weirdos, they lose their mind in there. I mean, the walls creep in on them. They start counting cracks in the ceiling, and next thing you know, they're mutilating their testicles or cutting their wrist or drawing in feces on the wall. And I've seen it, more than 20 times. And it's just not normal or right. It's inhumane, really.
Yeah, we're going to get to those stories in more detail, but just going back to the gang rules, you touched on heart. You've mentioned what a charge check is. They want to see if if you're a chum or got anything like that. Can you explain to people what a heart check is?
A heart check, absolutely. So you're going to get a heart check with pretty much every race, regardless on what organization you run with. They're going to see if you're about that. They're going to, whether, there's no two heart checks could be the same. Some individual might try to take your food and just test what you're going to do. Another person might come at you with something homosexual, a slur, or grab your ass and just see what you're going to do. And if you don't react the way that they're expecting you to react, they're going to prey upon those individuals. And I totally spaced the question, brother. Excuse me. What was the main question?
Okay, right now we are on what a heart check is.
Oh, there you go. All right, yeah.
So
the heart check is pretty much to test someone and to see where they stand, to see if they're going to step up for themselves. How I got heart checked. I pulled up to prison. It wasn't in county jail. I had already kind of proven myself a couple times getting it in. Obviously, county jail, the politics aren't as harsh as the penitentiary. When I came to prison, immediately I had seen someone that I knew from county jail, a big, tall white boy from New York. I swooped him up. He told me that he was in a workout car. For anybody that doesn't know, a car is a group of individuals. He told me, hey, I'm in this workout car. When the doors pop, come to chow with us. So when the doors popped open, I went out. I ended up meeting up with their little group of 4 or 5, and we ended up going to the chow all together. And I sat with them at the soldier table. I didn't even know what that was at that time. I just sat with them because I was with them. But the whole point of the story is that after we grabbed a couple of trays and we sat down, after I literally probably ate, 2.5 trays, gorging myself from being in county, starving. So my stomach was really full. One of the big guys reaches over to me and tells me, hey, old boy over here that you cut in line wants to get it up with you. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, fucking homeboy said that you disrespected him and that you cut him. When you guys get to the pod, he wants to fucking run a fade. He wants to step into the baño. And I'm like, what? And I'm not scared, but I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm like, I didn't disrespect nobody. I was with you guys. And he's like, nah, I don't know what the issue is, bro. He's like, we're not going to let them jump you. But, he wants to get it up, dog. So you're going to have to get it up. So-and-so is going to give you some shoes, and you guys are going to get it in building 4 when you get back. So I stopped eating, and I was on go time. I wanted to go try to puke this food up real quick so that I could, defend myself. So I'm thinking, what I'm playing out these things in my mind, or what is going to go on. I don't know. I've heard all these war stories and how prison's going to be, especially for the whites, and they're going to make me a Viking. And, so mentally, I don't know what's going on. My adrenaline's already going, 15 minutes prior to the altercation even getting started. So we walk all the way across the yard, probably, 600 yards. And we get into the building. They give me some crusty pair of 14, size 13 and a half shoes, New Balances that are flopping, talking themselves. I wear an 11 and a half. I lace these things up as tight as I can, and the laces break. So I'm trying to make do with what I got. And they give me some shorts. At that time, I was still just wearing pants and the brand new shirt. Someone gave me some ripped up gym shorts, and they were like, "Are you ready? If he gets you, bro, I got you." The big dude that was pretty much putting me on the whole time kept telling me, if they catch you, youngster, I got you. Don't trip, And he was trying to pump me up, and I'm I'm ready for what's going on. I didn't know how this was gonna go, but I knew I was going full force, and I didn't know. I had no clue what was about to happen. And sure as hell, the doors pop open. 3 or 4 Mexican dudes start walking, and they're jamming fast. You can tell, it was go time. And the dude tapped me on the shoulder, let's go. And the 4 or 5 of the white boys kind of walked with me, and they walked into the bathroom first. One Mexican dude stepped in there, face all tatted up, big yoked up Mexican, probably been doing time for God knows how long. And he stepped up in there, bro. And the first thing that was going through my mind is I'm blasting this big boy in the throat. and I'm taking him to the ground. I'm not going to get dropped or, KO'd right now in front of everybody in the pod. There's probably 250 people that can see into this pod where we're about ready to fight in that bathroom. For anybody that doesn't know, the baño is what they call the bathroom. Pretty much every race says that. It's bathroom in Spanish, the baño. That's where we fight, the octagon. So I step in there. I come around the corner. I step in there, and I'm about ready to get it. And, as soon as I get into my stance, he's probably about 10 feet in the back by the handicap stall. And he's squared up, big boy, all tatted up with his shirt off. Traps coming from his ears to his shoulders, just yoked penitentiary, stocky. And as soon as I came in, and I was like, what's up? He's like, what's up, motherfucker? And they all came around the corner like, and got you. They were all clowning me, all the white boys and the Mexicans. And, I still didn't know. I thought they were jumping me at first. When everyone came rushing in, I thought they were getting me still. I was still backed up. I'm in between the urinals thinking they're going to poke me or something. I didn't know what was going on. But, they're shaking my hand like, hell yeah, youngster. All right now, youngster. They're all, rubbing my head and shit. And then that big Mexican dude, came up like, all right now. Hey, what's up, dog? And he, shook my hand and got all rough with me like, all right now. He's like, hey, are you hungry? I told him, yeah, I just got here. I'm hungry, fuck. And, they were all laughing at me. And, they asked me, do you smoke spice? You want to smoke a joint? And everyone pretty much was cool. My paperwork wasn't even there yet. When you first get to the penitentiary, all your stuff is in property. You show up with, your shoes. You're in flip-flops with the clothes they give you in your mat. Normally it takes about a week to 9 days for your property to come and for you to have your police report. And that's what I was saying. I was greeted with kindness. I got given a pouch of tobacco. I got given everything I needed. I got workout shoes. A lot of people, wouldn't know this, but white boys mandatory have to be suited and booted at all times, even on low custody yards. You can't walk across the yard to the shower in your shower shoes, which are your sandals. You have to have your shoes on. You have to be ready for anything to happen. People can't come. People always say, how come people get so big in there? Because they're in a warlike state and they're leaking testosterone. That's why they're able to put on size, and that's the scientific facts. Besides all the carbs that, they're feeding and, sitting there working out doing nothing, when you're in a heightened sense like that, that's why caveman and, barbarians were a lot more savage, because they were, expressing and using these endorphins in their mind. Humans these days, as you know, people sitting there so comfy with their Starbucks and, their Tesla. They don't even know what it's like to anything, brother. Sweat or hunt for their food or to struggle or have to battle to survive. You don't know what you're capable of until you're pushed into a corner. And I've seen some of these heart checks go bad. Sometimes someone will try to heart check someone and they'll kill the individual. The third day in prison, I'll let you go ahead real quick.
Yeah, please describe that. I'd like to hear that story.
My third day, I said this briefly, I think on lockdown 23 and 1, but I was on a top bunk. I was brand new, so I could see pretty high in the dorm, and it was probably only my third day in. I only knew maybe 10, 15 names. I'm still getting used to how everything works. And when I first got there, the paisas, which are the Mexican Americans again, they smashed somebody over some issue. I don't know what it was. They go to the bathroom. You hear boom, boom. Someone got beat up. The dude came out and he was all lumped up. Well, when someone gets beat up that drastically, they can't just go to the chow hall all laceration and their face swollen. So whoever beat them up, normally if they stay, they're still solid. Their people will feed them for however long so they don't have to go expose themselves and get everybody caught up and get a ticket. So they were feeding him. He was staying back, not going to chow, not going to school, trying to hide his face when they would do count time. Well, on that third, maybe 2 days after he had gotten beat up, the shot caller that had called that shot and got him beat up was sleeping. And, cubicles in a dorm style living, it's cubes, it's not cells. So you're exposed to everything. And the individual that we're speaking about, the shot caller for that specific race, was in between multiple other races. So when this individual creeped up on him, he had a belt wrapped around his hand, and these belts are, strong little straps. Imagine a really strong dog collar, and they loop a padlock through it. And I guess he had multiple padlocks on it, and he had it wrapped around his hand and just mounted that guy. And I was on the complete opposite side of the dorm, the complete opposite, literally probably 65 yards plus. And the sound of that lock hitting that guy's head is just indescribable. I couldn't re-describe it if I wanted to, but I mean, people found, like how on a padlock, how they have the dial, like how you would twist at school, that little dial was found on the opposite side. When he was hitting that dude, those padlocks one of them broke apart, and they found a piece on the opposite side laying on a white dude's foot of his bed. Like, and that was one of the most vicious things that I had ever watched, in person. That guy, I don't know if he lived. Everybody was kind of talking about it, at Chow Hall and in school for about 4 or 5 days. And then it just gets swept under the rug and nobody even remembers that guy. It happens so often in there that you get so desensitized to it. I just say to my viewers constantly, like, no one is about it. We all feel that pain at night. We all want to be touched by a woman. We all want to do what we want to do. No one wants to be told what to do constantly and where they can fart and what toilet they have to use and how they have to shave. It's horrible. And the fact now that we have these opportunity, brother, to show these youngsters that, look, we did it and it's not fun. It's not about that. You're not going to go get a whole bunch of tattoos and get some chicks. I mean, you can get tattoos on the street. It's not worth it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to build up here a picture of Arizona prison gang culture with you. You've done a brilliant job so far of describing yourself going in, how they check your charges. You've done brilliant stories there about the heart checks. What other gang rules did you have to learn when you first went in?
First and foremost, no rubbernecking. If 10 black guys jump on a guy and they're beating him, you continue playing your card game and you act like a convict and you act like you've seen it before. You don't freak out and act like some new booty and start staring. If everybody starts staring, the cops are going to see and you're pretty much dry snitching. You can't rubberneck. You learn real quick to keep your mouth shut and your ears open. Listen, follow suit, Don't think that, you're going to walk in there and punch a big guy in the face and earn respect. That's not how you earn respect. You only have your word and your balls in there. You don't break either of them. Stand up for what you believe in. The rules for pretty much gang-wise, I mean, for one, first and foremost would be don't talk, that's main. No matter what that cop asks you, if a cop were to come in the pod and say, hey, where's Sean at? And, oh, yeah, he's in shower 3. You're getting beat up for that. You had no reason to do that. They didn't ask your name. People come in and they're not really knowing these things. Another main thing that is simple that a lot of individuals on the streets would never even think of is hygiene. Individuals going number 2 and not washing their hands will get severely punished for coming out and sitting there with feces on their hands. Obviously, they might not have poop on their hand, but if you use the restroom and do not wash your hands, you are going to get smashed. If you get a warning, you're lucky. Some individuals are so scared coming into county that they won't go to the bathroom. They're so scared to go to the bathroom in front of everybody. I've heard of individuals holding their shit for 18 days. But what a lot of people do that are new and are scared, they'll try to shit in the shower because they can be behind that curtain and it's the only little brief amount of privacy they have, and then they try to stomp it through the drain. I've seen multiple people literally almost killed over pooping in the storm drain. Other men have to use that facility. If you're doing things like that are hindering other people's time, you're going to get dealt with. You need to do your own time, have your own program. And the biggest thing, if you are going to be incarcerated or you caught a case and be consistent. And that's with everything, with learning new skills, with training dogs, with learning to fight, with striking, anything, learning a language. Consistency is key. Keep pushing. Everything is hard. People always think that everyone just became a master overnight. All these individuals that just dominate their craft, they've been mastering it and trying it and failing. One of my favorite quotes is, you miss every shot you don't take. Wayne Gretzky said that quote, and I love that. I live by that. I'm not scared to fail. That's why I'm not scared to be on this whole thing. This whole YouTube thing turned into something totally different than I thought. Initially, it was just reaching out, letting Death know and all his subscribers, hey, not every white boy is scared under the sheet, wanting to PC up and play Xbox. There's the other side of the coin, and I just wanted to share that. And when these kids started reaching out to me, I started having multiple individuals saying, hey, My dad went to rehab. He's been watching your show. We love you. We support you. Here's $3. We're broke, but we support you. Or I was supposed to go train an individual. He has an amazing little bully named Marley. I was supposed to go train, and when I called on Friday morning to confirm we were supposed to go meet, he told me, look, I've been watching your show now for 3.5 weeks. I wish I would have met you a couple years ago. He's like, I'm addicted to heroin, and I just wanted to let you know I'm going to detox. I'm going to be gone. I'm going to be in California for like 2 months. When I get back, I want to shake your hand, and I still want to train. I just want to say thank you. And, hearing those things makes you feel good. And I don't know about you, but I like feeling good. And if, I enjoy doing it and people are getting a positive response from it, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I try to just, be me. If I'm just me and I'm authentic, I can't take an L, I feel. And I just, I'm just being myself, and that's it. Just being myself.
All right. On the gang stuff then, a big thing
Sorry, bro.
about prison is the drugs. And you talked about people jumping in on fights. That's a no-no, because if people jump in and there's a riot, the whole building gets locked down, the drug flow stops or slows down, and the absolute priority, from what I saw, was to keep that drug flow coming in. Now, so for example, if a black guy and a white guy's got a beef, then the heads of the races in that building will just say, all right, you guys go in that cell under the stairs or the octagon, the banyo, whatever, and squash the beef. And then you'll see guys, they'll fight, and at the end, they're having a smoke or they're having a hug. If they're not complete psychos, they're not going to go off and get shanks. Generally, that is like routine from what I saw. So from your experience then, can you talk about gangs and drugs and prison and how to avoid the minefield? Because a lot of violence happens around drugs and drug deaths in these places.
100%. That was a great question, Sean. So, obviously with power, money, all these things all play into a part. These organizations aren't uneducated dumbasses sitting in there with no education. These are lucrative, serious organizations. They are controlled. They are literally making calculated moves, making serious amounts of money from behind bars. When these things get affected, there are serious ramifications. That's why the politics are how they are. For instance, if another race, and if it were any two races, they're not just going to have a dispute. So say a black guy called a white guy a bitch, yeah, they're fighting on site. If anybody else were to jump in, we're going to kick it off. Guaranteed, no matter what. If 9 times out of 10, it's going to kick off if that were to happen in that manner. Normally, just as you said, whoever has, got that head for that race, they're going to get together, say, look, so-and-so and Sean are bumping heads. He owes him $4 on the poker table. We don't want to have this riot kick off and have all of our soldiers get got and lose all this money and everybody's phones getting taken. Let these two step into the cell and handle it. So as you said, they'll step into the banyo, handle it, boom, it's over. But in an instance where individuals start fighting, it's going to crack off. And that's why things are like that. And exactly like you said, you have to be thinking about everybody else always. A lot of these individuals grew up in foster care or with no father or on the streets doing what they wanted when they wanted, and they didn't give a fuck, about anybody. But now you're with everybody that's an alpha male. Every move you make affects everybody. If you want to be a jackass and spark up a joint right before count, and that cop walks in and they want to be a dickhead, they're going to go search homeboy's cell across the pod and go get him caught up for his shank and his dope and their phone caught, which was $1,100. And now you and your cellie are going to get your head cut off because you just got a fucking different organization, somebody that's a big dog for another shit caught up. And now, blood is going to be paid, and it affects everything. Everything, money, same thing on the streets. It's worse in prison because 2 shots of coffee, 2 scoops of coffee, you don't pay that back. You break your word. It's over principle. It's not really that 2 shots of coffee. It's the fact that all 900 of these individuals that we live with and that see every single thing we do know that you just burned me and that you don't give a fuck about what I got to say, or you don't give a fuck about my pocket. Because what if we go on lockdown tomorrow or a riot happens and I have no food now because you wanted to be an ass clown and break your word and I trusted you? So, I mean, all these things affect other individuals. Or being a cell warrior. That's why, all the whole YouTube gangsters and the cyber crips in prison, you can't yell. It doesn't matter if that individual is a PC case or if that guy beat up your sister on the street. If you're behind a closed door or he's on the opposite side of a gate and you can't get at him physically, it's weak of you to jump out there like, yeah, screw you. Yeah, what's up? Wait till You don't want to let the enemy know that you're coming for them. They're going to get prepared. You get at them when you can. You don't make stupid beefs like that. You getting out on the run and yelling, hey, fuck you, homeboy, blah, blah, blah. Somebody else could think that you're disrespecting them, and now you just brought a whole other race into this shit, and all 500 of their people, and they're going to stand like it's a domino effect. That was a great question, brother. Straight up, great question.
So you're going in the beginning, you don't understand all of the gang rules. You're probably more streetwise than a lot of people. Did people test you? Did you get in fights right away?
So I wasn't getting tested per se by, it wasn't the initial first couple of fights weren't, from people trying to try me or, to take my cookie or something. It was more of I was on a lower custody yard. Once I kind of got my bearings and I knew a couple of people that I knew personally from the streets had a little bit of pull, I started kind of, wandering out and being a little running amok. I say that term often and I have a lot of comments and people say, what is that? When I say running amok, I mean that I was over here making money doing this. I had my hands in that. I was going to try to, get this dope and cut it in half and go make double over here. And I was calling this girl on this cell phone trying to get her to send money to this green dot so that I could get this and buy these shoes so that I could get a G-Shock and sell it to somebody on the other side for more. Like I was constantly trying to hustle because I knew from the rip that my mother and my grandma aren't going to be supporting, my commissary. I wanted hygiene. I wanted nice things. I wanted my shirts creased up and I wanted my shit sewn, and you got to pay for that. I wanted, a CD case. I wanted my TV right. I wanted my Tumblr all tatted, and, I got those things. Was it right? No. Did I learn from it? 100%. But, I mean, my first term to my second term was night and day. From being on a 2-yard and then going to a 3-yard, it was a slap on the wrist to coming back and being on a 4-yard where everybody's strapped up with a banger all day. I mean, I knew a dude that had a colostomy bag that got shot by a shotgun twice in his guts, and that dude would hide pieces to his little lat band and shit and like tie it, crazy. People tucking pieces under really fat, guys, hiding it under their, man boob, dudes hooping, big pieces of metal, going out to a riot, hooping that. I have this piece right here from a video that I just did the other day, but this is something common you find on pretty much every prison yard. When prisons were being built, people don't realize that, these things were just getting fallen in the dirt and getting covered. So, you kick around enough dirt on a prison yard, you're finding pieces of rebar, 4.5-inch nails. I mean, this looks small, but I assure you that this could end a life very quickly, as you know. And it's not a game. I mean, something as simple as a single blade razor, you break that open and manipulate that into, any type of handle, a toothbrush, anything. And those fillets, those slashes are so vicious. I mean, I've seen dudes opened up like you wouldn't believe. I'm sure you have as well. I wanted to ask you real quick, excuse me, where did you go when you touched down? After you went to Alhambra, what yards were you on?
Supermax right away because the prosecutor, she'd done a number of things on me. And her final farewell was she accidentally put my sentence down as 34 years. My sentence was 9.5 years. So in the county jail, the prosecutor, my bail was $750,000. She doubled it to 1.5 million, so I would go to max because as soon as your bail goes over 1 million, you go to max. My girlfriend, she was visiting me 3 times a week. She was my lifeline. Prosecutor charged her with 1 prescription pill found on the day of the SWAT team raid, which is a Class 6 felony. You still there? Yeah, Class 6 felony. Co-defendants can't visit co-defendants. So they really messed with me, man, hardcore. I was in the county jail until my third year. I was fighting the case.
Mm.
Wildman, I'm trying to remember where Wildman went. After about a year, he did a plea bargain, and I think he went to Buckeye, and they came up to him. Somebody came up to him asking about his charges, and noise again. Making a big noise. Can you hear me?
I don't have any notifications. I don't see anything this time.
There was like a crazy noise. It
I don't
stopped.
know.
Stopped. Okay. Yeah,
I
Wildman
did.
got to
Go ahead.
Wildman got to Buckeye, and they came and asked him his charges, and he says, "I'm just trying to get to sleep. I've had a bad day." And he said, "I don't think you understand. You need to tell us your charges." And he just knocked the guy out.
Yikes.
And then they said to him, "Right, you shouldn't have done that. We're going to come back." So they came back. They did some research, and they ended up offering Wildman the guy's job, basically.
Oh, wow.
You've seen some of his stuff on my channel, haven't you?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. He'd be a good one for you to talk to as
That's
well.
what you guys have stayed in. I like that.
Yeah, but just going back to you then, we were talking about the gangs, the drug debts, and the violence. What is the craziest violence you've seen in prison or jail?
Um, I've seen a lot, brother. I've seen a 19-year-old kid hang himself, and he was in the pod perfectly fine, talking. Everything was cool. We were playing chess. It becomes 10 o'clock. I'm sitting in the front of the pod reading so that I could see with the light in SMU2. I didn't have a lamp at that time. And I'm sitting in the front of the pod, and the cop comes in to do the walk like normal, at night. They come in, they leave. And this kid was dead next to me, man. He hung himself in a vent. They brought him out, started doing CPR. For one, he was stone cold dead when they cut him down already. You could hear the cops in there dry heaving, like, "Ugh, ugh." Like he was stone cold dead. They finally bring his body out of the cell because that was a crime scene. They're trying to give him CPR, and they have like this little plastic thing over his face. He's completely blue. Mind you, he's Hispanic, a dark-skinned Mexican at that. And his lips and his face were purple. They tried giving him CPR. He was stone cold dead. The fire department got there probably like 15 to 20 minutes after that. They came in, tried hooking him up to a machine. They did CPR, tried giving him like that little oxygen pump bag to his face. And then they called his time of death, like probably God knows how long after this dude had been dead. And then they just left his body right there for probably 8.5 hours and had some brand new booty young cop, probably 21 years old, didn't have a facial hair on his face, sitting there on the stairs. They set up a little camera on a tripod on the body, and the guard was just sitting there on the stairs, just staring. And all night long, all the inmates were like, "Boo!" or "He's gonna get you!" And he was terrified. And all these people are completely desensitized to this guy we were just talking with, and we're just having conversations with, and he was just talking about his kid and his lady. Now he's laying there dead, and everyone's messing with that guy. Like, he's not gonna bite you. Touch him, poke him, whisper in his ear. It's just you get so desensitized to that. And people are going to ask why or what that kid lit an apartment building on fire. It was a huge case. It was all over the news. When he showed up, immediately people were getting at him in the vent like, "Hey, shoot your paperwork." And he was really nervous. They kept saying, "Where's your paperwork?" And you get a 2-week time. That's enough time for them to give you an envelope and a stamp for you to write your public pretender or your lawyer and get your stuff back. And, legal mail comes a little bit quicker than the other mail. They don't get to open it and search it. They open it and do it in front of you. But that was pretty savage. I mean, there are, I'm going to switch the name, but there was an individual playing basketball with somebody on the yard, and we were at the poker tables, playing, doing our thing, and we knew it was coming. Everybody knew it was coming except the individual. And you can feel the tension. Everybody does the same thing every single day. When you come out of that cell in the morning and everybody's routine is slightly different, and you see everybody wearing their older shoes and their older clothes, not wearing their nice gear, because normally we come out going to the chow hall stunting. We got our nice watch, We got our nice stuff. You come out looking proper. You represent yourself, and you're representing your people as a whole. You don't want to be walking around unshaven and stinky breath, smelling like BO, or you'll get dealt with. But man, they were playing basketball, shooting hoops, shooting hook shots. And next thing you know, this guy's got a piece of rebar stabbing this dude from behind in his chest, like right here in his sternum and his collarbones. And the sounds of that dude's sternum. So anybody knows, rebar is, thick as your finger. Imagine a brand new crayon when you're a kid, how crayons are at a point, but at the tip it's very flat. It's flat. That's how the maintenance crews. So in prison, they have specific individuals that work on the toilet, and they do different tasks around the prison, and they have access to tons and tons of different tools. This has been happening since the beginning of time. Every single prison knows this, and they try to keep track, but there's just too much stuff, and these individuals can get time on a grinder and put an edge on anything. And the sound of that dude getting stabbed, and then to make the story more savage. I have so many stories, real quick, to pause, that I could say and that I have seen, but people would just think that I'm just talking out my ass. Society doesn't even have a clue of the amount of violence that can happen, and that how nobody even blinks an eye. The cops will stand there and watch because they don't want to jeopardize themselves. But that dude, after he stabbed him probably 7 or 8 times, slamming an 11-inch, 12-inch piece into this dude, everyone was dead quiet. You could hear a pin drop. He screamed up at the tower when they had multiple cops screaming at him with a gunner, "Get out! Get out!" He screamed, "Get this piece of shit off my yard!" and threw down the piece and fucking walked away and went and sat down at the tables. They didn't even come into the yard for about 45 minutes after that and get that dude. He was laying there dead on the basketball court, and there was cops all around the perimeter of the yard, but they just wouldn't come in. And nobody wants to be the first one to lock it up or to lay down and give up. So every race is doing a standoff. Everyone's grouped up. And, when something like that happens, it's no one saw nothing. It wasn't your business. And that shit happens every day. Or on another institution, somebody was supposed to put in some work. They were coming out the chow hall, threw one vicious right hook, killed dude. He hit him from behind in the jaw. Dude was dead before he hit the ground. He caught 7 more years. They only gave him 7 years for catching a body in Yuma County. Is that not insane or what? He already had 15 years, killed somebody in prison, and they only gave him 7 more.
Just to back that up a little bit then, Arizona, the violence, especially in the jails. Sheriff Joe Arpaio's jail was classified as the jail with the highest rate of death out of all the jails and prisons in America. Nat Geo Channel, they researched it around the time I was there over a 5-year period. 62 people died, and some of those people were murdered by the guards. And I've got videos of guards murdering mentally ill prisoners on my channel. In fact, I'll put them in the description box below this so people can see how real it is. I've also got a video of, I think his name is Peter Van Winkle, an AB dude who killed a guy in the maximum security Madison Street jail where I was for a year. He killed a guy in there because the guy had refused to beat someone up for the gang. And he's not shanking this guy. It's not a quick kill. He is, for 10 minutes, he's smashing this guy's head over and over and over into the concrete. 10 minutes later, guy's not dead yet, so he's just stomping on the back of his head, stomping on the back of his neck, and blood's just going everywhere. And this is the guards' screen. They're supposed to be watching this and stopping any trouble. The guards don't do shit. So 20 minutes it was before the guards responded. And by then, the guy's already dead. He's grabbed the corpse, brought it out right in front of the camera like he's trying to show it off. He tries to throw it off a balcony. It gets stuck on the railing, and he starts kicking it over and over and over again. And only then did the guards come in and respond. This is how much control the gangs have got over the prisoners versus the guards. But now we've talked extensively about the gang side of it. Let's go over to the guards side of it. So you went in, you learn all these rules, but then the guards' rules conflict the gang rules sometimes. How did you navigate through that system of conflicting rules?
I mean, you just got to go on a day by day basis. You got to try to mind your P's and Q's. When you go against the cops, they can plant something on you. They can do, they can ruin your life real quick. If they make a couple reports and they have a sergeant or someone that supports it, you're burnt. If someone, and in what I think these cops is almost every single staff assault, I've said this multiple times on my channel. Check it out, J Rock Talks on YouTube. But multiple times individuals, a cop will call someone a bitch, or take your tray, you little punk, quit crying, don't be a little bitch. They say that, and now that inmate is either gonna retaliate and assault that officer, and he might catch 2.5 years now if it's serious and he catches a case over it, or his cellie or every other individual, whatever race he is, they're gonna stomp him out and maybe kill him because he didn't stick up for himself. These cops put themselves in that position. They need to teach them better. They literally, because cops get hired and they're gone like that. The return rate, there's always new Department of Corrections, and same thing. The difference between a DO and a CO is a detention officer is in county, a CO is in prison. DOs in county jail, we call them door openers because that's all they do. They're extremely disrespectful, and you just gotta, exactly like you said. I mean, the guards, you don't want them against you, but at the end of the day, they know it's a cat and mouse game. They're our enemy, and we're our enemy. They treat us like that. For instance, say you assault an officer, 5 officers are getting you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you give it to them, they're giving it back. You stab one of them, they're breaking everything you have, and they're breaking ribs. Like, you burn a cop, you throw something hot water on an officer in lockdown, they're smashing your TV, they're pouring water in your fan, and your everything is ruined. I mean, you don't want to go against them. It's a huge revolving door, and you're going to lose that battle. You just got to mind your P's and Q's. Don't talk to an officer alone. Always make sure you have someone with you. You don't want to go up and ask a cop for a towel and then have some dude say, hey, so-and-so went up there and just told the cop, that I have heroin or whatever. You always want to have a reputable individual with you if you're going to go be talking to a cop. Never step into a cell or some bullshit with a sergeant or a lieutenant and chop it up alone. Always have an individual with you. On lower custody yards, they push this super heavy. At no point in time, even when they're doing mail call, you can't even go up to the cop by yourself and grab your mail because they don't want someone to slip the cop a note and say, help, so-and-so has a cell phone and they're going to kill me, So another thing that we didn't really kind of go over is the mailman. So every race has a mailman, and what that individual does is every day, anybody that writes a letter, they stack it up at that individual's desk or at his house or at his door, and he goes through, looks at it. Your envelope is sealed, but he looks at it, he looks at the kites and the different health requests. We call them H&Rs. And he looks to make sure there's nothing sketchy, and then he turns that stuff in. And why we do that, as I said previously, is people will drop kites. They'll tell their cellie, oh yeah, my back hurts, I'm going to get an H&R, I got to go to medical. And then they write on there, my cellie has a knife, I'm scared for my life, and he's writing a girl on Facebook, and she's going to bring in heroin next weekend, get me out of here, help. And then they'll turn that in, like, hey, CO, I got to go to medical. And they try to act all slick. And, you got to think these people are master manipulators. They've been manipulating and doing this since they were little kids. Everyone that watches our show or my show for sure, they just assume that everybody that catches a case is educated and literate or had a life like they did. People just don't grasp that some of these individuals grew up with drug addict mothers and 10 brothers, and they were, bouncing from house to house. They had no structure. They had no male role model. They didn't learn to read or write, and the only thing they know how to do is steal and extort. That's how they've fed themselves. So what's going to be different when they go to prison? In my opinion, thieving is not a hustle. Nobody respects a thief. That shit doesn't fly in Arizona. Booty bandits, as you know, we don't let that shit fly. We stick up for our own. No one's going to extort our people. No white boy is going to go to store in Arizona and have another race push up on him and take his shit. Or would we let another white boy take his stuff? Now, if he owes a debt, yeah, he's going to come correct and he's going to pay. But we're not just going to let people extort our people. We're trying to build them up and give them character and teach them something they didn't know. I became a man, and I can say that. I was ignorant. I didn't respect anybody. I didn't give a fuck who I affected. I only thought about me always. My money, my this, my truck. You hit my truck. Like I was always so quick to explode. And I've acknowledged that about myself. I try working on it every day. You know, I understand that at any given time, because of my tattoos and because of my past, if at something simple, like for instance on Black Friday, at Black Friday recently, the big shopping event, I don't know if you guys celebrate that in England, but everyone was at Best Buy. We were with one of my buddies. We had just had the baby. I was trying to get my lady a push present. She wanted one of those smart watches, and a couple individuals were out there running their mouth. At first, they offered $20 to try to cut in line, and then they offered a $50 bill, and some guy took the money and just let them cut in front of us. And a bigger black gentleman next to me, big boy, told him, "Nah, homeboy." And we started kind of arguing, and the chick with that group ended up macing, and I straight elbowed this dude. And long story short, I didn't get in trouble, thank God. But the woman that got hit most of the mace, old little Mexican lady, I talk to her all the time. She's super funny. She's giving me that video of me catching that dude with an elbow, and I'm posting that on my page. And it got mixed reactions. Some people were like, "Why would you post that?" But all the other people that were saying, "Oh, he made that up," or "Where's the footage?" All those people that were saying it didn't happen, I just want to throw it up and say, take that. But yeah, that was some bullshit. And I try to not, you know, I try to avoid those situations at all costs. But in that situation, I was standing next to my friend with his pregnant lady. It was gonna escalate no matter what. I just happened to throw that strike because I was trying to get off first. They were either gonna swing on one of us or the dude next to me was gonna swing. So just like I was taught, my dad always told me as a kid, if you get that first punch off, you got like an 81% chance of winning. So I've always tried to take flight first.
All right. On the subject of the guards, then, did you see any guards attack prisoners or any prisoners attack guards?
Um, I've been stomped out by cops multiple times. I've seen them stomp out other inmates multiple times. And every time the report will say, so and so inmate did this, we used the least amount of force necessary. And every single ticket, they're stomping people with boots. They have those big bear maces. They're pistol whipping people with that OC spray, just pushing it in people's ear or their nose. Anything they can get to inflict pain or to get you, they want to. And believe me, they hold grudges. If you got their homeboy or if you disrespected them in the chow hall, they're going to remember. They're going to search your shit. They're going to step on your pillow with their nasty ass boots. They're going to have their canine dog jump all over your bed. And this is another perfect example. A canine officer came in. They were doing searches with the wands trying to find metal. He kept running the dogs on the bed. One of the German shepherds hiked his leg and peed on an individual's bed. The individual freaked out. When they were trying to lock us back down, he seen the urine all over his shit. He started freaking out, telling the sergeant, "Yo, you guys need to come correct. I'm not fucking sleeping on that, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to make me wash all my shit in this house. I want a new mattress and I want new shit now. I got that coming." And they were like, "We're busy. Go lock down. We'll take care." And he's like, "You ain't going to talk to me like that. Like, I got that coming. I want clean linens like everyone else. I want to lay down. You guys are going to be gone searching all day." And he said, "I said go sit your ass down and lock down." And boom, it was on. Homeboy took flight on him right there. And, with the Southsiders, when you take flight, they're going. So if a Mexican gets into it with a cop, they're all going. And it's on and cracking. And the white boys run with the cops. And as you know, it followed suit. And it was no joke. We were locked down for almost 6 months. I mean, bringing the trays in every single day. No phone calls. If you didn't have a cell phone in your cell before that shit happened, you were burnt. If you didn't have commissary when that happened, you were burnt because we couldn't order commissary that whole time. And the trays, when you're not going out of your cell and going to the chow hall in a 4-yard, when they're making those little lunch sacks, you're not getting as much food. It damn sure ain't going to be hot. So everybody has to pay. Like I said, that individual could have bit the bullet and thrown that dirty linens out and just kicked it. But instead, he did what he did, and everybody had to pay the price for that one individual. And to be honest, I'm almost 95% sure that dude got dealt with for that. and ended up going out the back. He ended up piecing up because of that whole issue right there. I heard why I'm not confirming that is because that was hearsay from somebody in the event in the hole that I did not know. So I can only take that, for face value because I don't know that individual or his word.
So on a lot of the yards, drugs are getting brought in by visitation. But what I learned is a guard just takes one guard to be flooded like a whole building with drugs. Was that the case that you experienced?
Oh yeah, multiple times. We had a cop in lockdown bringing us tobacco. I'm obviously not going to put her on blast, but that was a blessing in lockdown. On a cigarette is very expensive. I would be lying if I said a specific price right now because things have probably fluctuated. I've been out since December 2014, so I'm not hip and I can't even remember off the top of my head. But we were making a killing. That was a total blessing. And yeah, it was simple, man. You know, so many cops, they're making 18 hours. They're strained. They got kids. They got holidays coming up. You can see when they're stressed out. So when you see someone mopey for a couple days or, you try to be friendly, someone will pull up on that cop, master manipulator and be like, hey, you good? What's going on out there? Oh, your man treating you like shit? Next thing she thinks you got good looking eyes. Next thing you know, she's complimenting your tattoos or damn, you're getting big. Your chest is getting big. You weren't that big a couple months ago. Now she's eyeing you. And then you drop the seed like, hey, girl, will you bring me a lighter? Fucking, I can't smoke in my room. Something little. Or, hey, bring me a pen so that I can do my drawings. Just bring me a pen. And once they bring that first thing, it's a wrap. Bring me toenail clippers, girl. Come on, it's toenail clippers. What could I do? Lace me up, beautiful. Come on. Boom, she brings that in. Next thing you know, tell her, hey, can you bring this? My buddy's going to give you a balloon full of some really quality tobacco. Just bring it in just like you did last time with the pen. Everything will be good. No, my job. No, no. No, girl, it's tobacco. Just say it's yours. If they catch you, it's legal. It's not drugs. Okay. So, boom, she's bringing it in. After she does that 2 or 3 times, then, you're having your homeboy put, a half ounce of heroin in the center of the tobacco, and she's bringing that in. And then it just keeps going. Next thing you know, she's going to meet with your mom on the street, and she's going to get a quarter kilo and going to fucking drop it off to another cop that she works with that works at a different wing. And next thing you know, you got 3 or 4 cops on the team and you're making, you can offer to pay them $1,500, $2,000 per drop because on something on the streets that costs $700 for an ounce, you're going to make $6,000 on in the joint. 0.5 of heroin, a half gram on a scale on the streets sells for $150 in Arizona. They call that a prison gram.
I've got a hypothetical question for you. Let's say you're inside and someone you grew up with is a prison guard and you were on friendly terms with that person on the streets.
I had
Would
that. I had
would
that experience.
you let the fellas know or would you keep that secret?
No, I let them know off top. I was in lockdown. I came out of my cell. I had a fresh tattoo. One of the individuals seen it, a cop. He ended up calling an all call. They locked us back down. They locked my cellie in the shower. They locked me in my cell. And when the cops came in, one of the individuals that was holding the video camera recording my ink and trying to question us, I knew him. I fought with him as a kid. I smoked weed with him. I fucked a girl in his bed in ninth grade. I used to ride on the back of his dirt bike and smash mailboxes, and he was sitting there right there in front of me, and I'm just like, and he looked at me all scared, trying to thinking I was gonna tell on him. If I would have said, "Oh, what's up, so and so," they would have moved him off that institution, or they would have moved me. So I didn't say anything. When they moved me back in with my cellie and they put my cellie back in the cell with me, I immediately told him, "I know, homeboy. Remember that story I told you? I got my lip busted and I got jumped at Skyline. That's who gave me a ride to my grandma's. That's who took me." And he's like, "What?" So the next time that individual was walking, I asked him, "Hey, let me get that pen. Let me get that red pen. What's up?" "No, I don't want to get fired. I just got out of the army." He was on some scary shit. That was at SMU 1. And then I ended up getting moved to SMU 2. And same thing. I seen my boy Gonzo's brother, and he walked up. He was way bigger. When I seen him, he was probably, 50 pounds bigger than the last time I seen him. But he came out and he was passing out traps and trays. And when he was slipping the tray, I was looking, I immediately knew who it was. He was a grade younger than me growing up in high school. I used to kick it with his brother Gonzo. So I'm looking at him, and he's not picking it up, and he's still not picking it up, and he's still not picking it up. And I said, "Hey, CO," and I moved my light cover. I said, "Can you tell Gonzo?" I said, "What up?" And as soon as I did that, I mean, he literally clicked right there, and like the other individual was right there stacking trays and lids. So they're trying to hide it that they know someone or whatever. But he was cool compared to the other one. He came back. He was shooting the shit. Like, what happened, bro? Like, man, dog, you were so good. Like, what happened with that? How is so and so? How is she? But multiple times I had that. And yeah, I told the fellas off top, I was trying to get them to, lace me up or, send a message or anything, pass something for me. But both of them were, trying to be professional, and I respect that. They both had kids. Would I kick it with them on the street? No. But it is what it is. I respect them. I understand they're trying to pay their bills. I'm glad that, they're on that side instead of me seeing them in orange. So,
What advice would you give to a young person going in who asks you how they should deal with the guards?
be respectful, act like an adult, treat them how you would want to be treated if you were just going to work every day. Um, I would definitely say if you're going, stay away from debt, stay away from dope, and stay away from any fucking form of relationship or someone trying to protect you. Someone that's trying to act like you're a friend and then wants you to start giving them money to make sure that, I'll back you up no matter what. If they jump you, just pay me this. That dude's trying to get up on you. Next thing you know, he's going to be trying to get in your butt cheeks. Just do you. Stand up for what you believe in. You got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them. Straight up. Not every battle you're going to win. You got to pick and choose. It's not you just got to be smart. You guys know the difference between right and wrong. The same things that apply on the street. Right and wrong isn't there. Don't tell another man. Mind your own business. Be respectful. Be honorable. And you could go your whole bit and be perfectly fine. It's the people that are gambling and that are trying to mingle and politic and selling dope and trying to do this and trying to, it's always these youngsters come. This is how a lot of youngsters get ruined. They're sitting at the table and a couple old timers will be talking and say, "Oh yeah, so and so blue right there. That fool needs to get smashed. Fucking, he did this over on this yard." And then you got little fish, new booty right here. Like, "Yeah, man, fuck that old timer. Someone needs to put a fucking piece of steel in that motherfucker. He needs to know what time it is. Yeah, somebody needs to get that fool." And then next thing you know, one of those old timers is like, "Oh yeah, youngster, go handle that then, tough guy. Here's a piece." You know what I'm saying? You want to fucking preach all that high power stuff? Go handle it. So then that youngster goes and does it, trying to prove himself to somebody that is never going to mean anything in his life later on. And he goes and whacks this fool and catches a body, and then boom, you go from 17 years old catching a DUI to doing 28 years. You know what I'm saying? Shit's not a joke.
Did you
Excuse me.
get
Hold on for a moment. Chloe,
go
hush!
for it. Go
I
for it.
apologize about that. My
It's okay.
female is tripping. Dog.
Did you get along with all your cellies?
Everyone except one. All my cellies were young. I was super thankful. I didn't want to get some old grumpy ass skinhead that was trying to mold me and get me to do his shit or his time. I was always blessed with someone that was really close to my age, and we always saw eye to eye. I mean, I could get along with anybody, brother. When I was in Alhambra and we were sailed with fucking 18 people, 4 black, 4 Mexican, 2 Chinese, it's nothing to me. When I was in the warehouse, chilling, playing cards, right? I don't see color unless it's green, brother. I'm trying to feed my family. It was the same way in the joint. People think that we can't talk to the blacks or something in there. It's more of a not of a money thing, or they sit at their tables, we have ours, and we normally don't do that much business because there's other business that can be done. We're not trying to put money in their pocket per se. But I fuck with them heavy. "What's up, cuzzo? All right, blood." Like, they fuck with me tough. "What's up, white boy, you little cracker ass white boy? I seen you get dunked on earlier. I'll dunk all over you, white boy." I'm like, "Shit, I'll roll you up, you nappy headed fuck." And they'll fucking, we shoot the shit back and forth, brother. They'll be calling me a pasty, pink-headed baby dick bastard. And, I'll back and forth, brother. And we would shoot the shit. You know what I'm saying? And I was cool with those fools. The homie Papa Doc, KO, OG Boney Low, West Side, all the big, LCM, West Side City. If you're real and you're a real motherfucker and you know the little bit of lingo, fools are going to respect you no matter where you go, where you touch down. And People have that thing that, well, how are you cool with them? And then a riot kicks off. Look, there is everybody in every race. There's people that you're going to like and people that you don't going to like. If a riot kicks off, am I going to go target the dudes that I joke with and I think are cool and someone that, I think is a solid individual? I mean, if I was forced to and I was going to be killed over it, absolutely, I'm going to defend myself. But if I could choose to get the guy that's loud, screaming all the time in the pod, that's dirty as fuck, that I don't like, yeah, I'm going to smash that motherfucker, not the dudes that I had a little bit of respect for. It's color is nothing. When you're in prison, the lines are drawn. If you don't like that and you don't want to live that life, don't do crime. Don't do the time.
We've talked about the dark side, but the things that prisoners look forward to are like visits and mail. Did you have family and friends visiting you?
Thankfully, 100%. I got to figure my lady in visitation, brother. Straight up. Yeah, but excuse me, but yeah, I got visits. I got a lot of love. Initially, when I was on Tucson, my family was in the Chandler, Tempe area, so it was easy for them to come to Tucson. And then when I was in Florence, it was easier, close for my family to come. It was about a 25-minute drive, so that was a blessing. But my first bid, I had a girl on the team coming to see me. Like I said, I just did what I did. I went back to the yard and was, smell that. Everyone was laughing. Everyone was like, hell yeah. But I was blessed, brother. I really was. I say this all the time. If it weren't for the individuals that just happened to be where I showed up, my time probably would have been so different. When I showed up when I was in Kingman, I moved from Tucson all the way to Kingman. They did a mass move, 300 people, because there was a riot out there against the whites and the blacks. So they rotated 300 versus 300. Right when I pull up, my uncle's best friend, Garner, immediately sees my name on my tag, pulls me up, asks me if I have family in Phoenix. I answer a couple questions. He's like, come over here. Boom. He's like, what's up, fool? Boom. Introduces me to another dude. They all grew up with my uncle. They knew my uncle Butterbean. Right then, I got a TV before my property even came. I got a couple pouches of tobacco. I got about 8 honey buns. He asked me if I tattoo. I said, yeah. He gave me a motor and ink. Like, I was blessed. If it weren't for those individuals blessing me, who knows what my time would have been like. When I ended up going to lockdown, when I smashed that chomo on the 4-yard and ended up going to max custody, I ended up getting an amazing celly. I was super bummed out thinking that I wasn't going to be able to get tatted. And I got pretty much this whole entire arm, pretty much the whole inside, pretty much my whole entire chest, all finished. I mean, I was blessed that he was able to tattoo. We had so much in common. We knew girls and individuals from the streets. There was only one person that I was celled with that I bumped heads with tough in prison. And for the first couple months, I fed him. We got along. He was kind of cool. But, he started asking if he could read my letters because he didn't get letters. And I had no problem with that at first. I would get a letter from my grandma or from my lady, and I would read it to him, and he would enjoy it. He didn't get to hear from nobody from the streets. So he would literally, pretend it was for him when they were saying, I love you and shit. Psychologically trying to keep himself going or whatever. Well, I was taking care of this dude for months, as I said. And, as we started butting heads, it got to the point, you stay on your side, I'm going to stay on my side. He was solid and so was I. So I wasn't going to smash this dude and send him packing and ruin his career because he was solid. We just didn't see eye to eye. He wasn't a PC case. He wasn't all bad. You're just not going to mingle with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Every single person in life is not going to be your best friend. And some people just got to, realize that. And that's how me and that individual were. We didn't work out together. We didn't program together. We didn't do German together. I would study German with somebody in the vent. He would study with somebody else on the pod at his own time. I would do burpees and then bird bath and then clean the floor. And then he would do it like an hour after me and redo everything. Like, we were on complete opposite schedules. So a lot of people don't realize, but in lockdown, especially when you're schooled, old school, you have to have one up, one down all the time. You can't have 2 people sleeping at the same time. You always have to have one ear on the tier. Somebody has to always be paying attention. If they're going to be doing a mass search or if the dogs are coming, we need to know what's going on. And when when you're doing politics and you're political and you're sporting specific ink, you got to stand up and be a reputable individual, and you got to be on point and representing. If somebody walks by and it's, one of your brothers walks by and they see you guys both in there snuggled up under your blanket, you guys are going to get smashed. And if they can't get at you, they're going to have you guys fight each other. And if you don't, then you guys will both be all bad and you'll be on the list and be pieces of shit. It's a dog-eat-dog world in there. Everybody is sharks, and a lot of people don't know, but sharks will eat other sharks. So
you ended up in a fight with this guy, the cellmate?
yeah, multiple times.
Multiple times?
Yeah, I beat it. So we were on the rec pen. So how we got moved in together is I got moved in with a dude named Levi Moses. So the individual that was tattooing me, I just told you, I was celled with him. He ended up getting reclassed from max custody to going down to a 4-yard, which is a little bit lower max. So I was alone. They immediately moved me with an individual named Levi Moses. He shot his mom in the back of the head with an AR-15 because God told him to. He was all bad. He's a psych case. He's schizophrenic and shit. And they moved me in the cell with him. He had 18 years. I had 18 months at that time. And I smashed him. I ended up getting an assault ticket. When they came and they did the search and they seen my birthmark on my throat, they thought that he had choked me. And they ended up getting dropped from an assault to disorderly conduct because they thought it was mutual combat. I ended up getting my next celly, the one that I told you that I fought. Everything was all good for the first little bit. When we were out at the rec plan, we were playing handball. And one of the homeboys yells over, "Hey, J-Rock!" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, is your celly so-and-so?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, tune that fool up, but give him a hug afterwards. He's not all bad." But, my celly's looking at me. He hears what the fuck homeboy just said. He knows that tune him up means get his ass beat. So he's looking at me like, "Fool, we're cellies, dog. We live together, fool." I'm like, "Brother, I'm not getting in a wreck over you. Just take your glasses off. We'll get it up and we'll fucking shake hands. Dog, it's nothing." He's like, "No, fool. No, fool. Fucking brother. Bro." I'm like, "Fool, take off your glasses, brother. We're going to get it up. I'm not going to fuck you off. Just come on." And then homeboy yelled over, "Hey, West Side." That's the homeboy that's next to us in the pod, in the rec pen next to me. And he tells him, "Hey, look at the bottom of the rec and make sure those white boys get it up." So what he was telling Westside was to get on the ground and look under the vent to make sure that I really tuned up homeboy and then we weren't just slap boxing around on some bullshit. So once he said that, I was already going to beat dude up. I had been wanting to whip his ass anyways. But with that, it was a win-win for me, I told him one more time, "Take off your glasses, homeboy, or else." He's like, "Fool, date. I lit his ass up, man. He tried to ball up. It was like, "Come on, man." And I just bombed on him a couple of times, good ones in the body, and Westside was like, all right, because normally you're not supposed to hit somebody when they're on the ground. Me and that dude, like I said, weren't the best of pens, so I did what I had to do. But other than that, excuse me, one moment.
Yeah, you're okay. Go for it. So if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to the channel. Subscription logo, bottom right-hand corner. If you've got any questions or comments for J-Rock, put them in below. And also, please subscribe over to his channel. His link is going to be in the description box below this video. And he was just on a story right now, getting in fights with his celly.
Yep. So that was the first time we had fought. After we had fought, I apologize. I had to blow my nose right now. Sounded all monotone for you guys. But after we fought, when we went into the house, we did have to live together. My mom raised a solid human being, so I made up a bowl of beans and soup, and I tried to offer him some. He was a little bit mad, so I just left it there, whatever. I ended up writing a letter. I was writing my uncle up there, and while I was writing my uncle, I wrote him about 4 or 5, lines, and I, grabbed it, and I hung it down there and, dangled it by his bunk. And, I was on top at that time. I always liked being on top. When I always tell stories, people assume, that if you're on top, that you're the weaker individual. Even when the bottom bunk or that fool would move out, I liked staying up top. I had more space up there. I could hang my curtain. I liked it way more. Anyways, he grabbed that little paper from me, and pretty much I told him, "Look, little brother, I know you don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with you. We both got to coexist. We're both solid. We're both white. We both got a family out there. Let's just make this shit happen, or we're going to fucking kill each other. I don't want to have to be sleeping with one eye open. Neither do you. Are we good, or are we going to get this shit up?" And he said, he read it, and he peeked up at me, and he said, "We're good, brother." So, we were good. So about a week went by. Everything kind of went back to normal. Everything was fine. We were about ready to work out. And I had asked him, hey, did you shave? We both had a Norelco shaver, so you can shave. In max custody, the inmates steal the Barbasol, which you clean the clippers with. So they don't have the real Barbasol. It's just watered down and it doesn't work. So when there's multiple individuals in the cluster that have HIV, and we know they have HIV, they made a rule that no white boys and no Mexicans can use the state clippers because they had those STDs on it. So unless you have $80 to purchase, a electric shaver, a little Norelco, you're burnt. So, we were cutting each other's hair, and hygiene in the cell is a major issue. When you brush your teeth and you have your mouth open and somebody's sleeping, it's loud. Not only that, but spit is going all over your sink and your toilet. You got to close your mouth. These are just little things you learn in lockdown that he would not do, and they would drive me crazy. He would spit in the sink where we cook, and that was the final straw. We were about ready to work out, like I was saying. I seen him spit in the sink. It made me mad. We cook right there. You know what I'm saying? Our hands are right there all day. We're cooking our food and chopping up our stuff, and you're just going to spit all over my shit? Nah. So I made a comment about it. He felt some type of way and wanted to try to act like he jumped up like, what's up, motherfucker? Like trying to intimidate me or something. And we got it up, When you start fighting and two cellies start fighting, the whole pod gets dead silent because everyone's trying to hear what's going on. But we got into it. He tried shooting from my legs. I mean, I'll be honest. I was bigger than him. I'm 6'1". I'm like 170 to 180 out here. But then, I was probably like 198. I got released at 206 in 2014. He was probably like 155, and he's like 5'8". So, yes, there was a size advantage, so I'll give him that. He did try a couple times after I beat him up the first time. So, I mean, he does have a little bit of heart. I'm not going to put him on blast and say his name, but we were oil and water, and that's a hostile environment. You always got to keep your back, no matter who your cellie is. Even if you guys get along, you don't know if that dude is going to wake up one night and try to strangle you. Or, in lockdown, there was a dude that got tied to the toilet. They tied his hands around the toilet so that he was stuck like this, and he tied him up with an extension cord and was spanking him and whipping him with another piece of that extension cord and raping that guy. And you could hear that guy scream from 3 clusters away, begging for his life. And the cops didn't intervene on that for almost an hour and a half while someone just was getting tortured on the cluster, screaming bloody murder. And it's insane, but when a human screams seriously, your voice goes like that. Like, a lot of people don't know, and I didn't even acknowledge that until I was in these situations. But when someone's screaming bloody murder and they're getting hurt and they are scared, they have like 3 good screams and their voice is gone. Like, I've heard people like, help, Sia! And then you hear silence. And it's not, they didn't die. Their voice just gave out. And then they probably got winded or they're getting choked or something. But that individual that got raped like that, that was 2 black cellies. And the guy literally beat the dude up in his sleep and knocked him out. And I guess while he was knocked out, he tied his hands around the steel toilet. So the guy couldn't get up. His hands were like, and his face was like pushed up against like where your, ass would be to shit. And the guy whipped him with the remaining parts of that cord over and over and over and was just, sodomizing him. And, people think this shit is a joke. But to be experiencing this all the time for 24 months, not seeing the sunlight once, not one time in 24 months, 23 months, excuse me, and then getting released. And hey, mom, hey, babe, it's overwhelming, smelling women's, or even worse for the people that got go get on a bus with 60 people they don't know. People stepping on their space, in their shit, disrespectful. It's so messed up in there, man. It's great that we're bringing light to this because society, we need to make changes. These individuals need to be taught tasks, how to read and write, how to do a trade, how to write checks, how to balance a checkbook, how to operate a smartphone. Some of these individuals were locked up when they were still pagers. Do you know what I'm saying? Some of these individuals have never seen a Razor phone. They've never seen an Uber. They've never seen a flat screen TV. when they brought the flat screen TVs and they took all the old TVs, all the Magnavoxes and all those old school clear TVs we used to have, and they started the clear little new style, some of the lifers were blown away. I was looking at them look at these screens like they were spaceships. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, they're like, look, what is this port? I'm like, that's a USB port. What is that? I'm like, oh my God. Like, people don't grasp these things, that time moves on and people forget about those people. Out of sight, out of mind.
You've done really good today, J-Rock. You've really confirmed a lot of the things I've been saying about the Arizona experience. I've just got one final question before we wrap this up. If you could just tell the viewers, how did you make a tattoo gun and how did you get ink?
I can do that right now. I'm going to be making a video on that shortly, but I'll show you right here. So with these regular file folders right here, you take 2 regular file folders and you take grease like this, and you open up the grease and you take out a little bit of the tip and you use it. You can use like a different type of rope out of the net bag, or you can use tissue, but you wrap it up in the wax and you're making a wick, and then you light the wax. And when you have your little homemade candle up under your bunk burning, it's going to be putting off a lot of black soot. And you're going to set up the 2 file folders like a TP above it, and you want to capture all that soot. And it'll burn, it'll smell a little bit. The cops won't smell it. And as you collect the soot, you'll keep collecting soot, and you scrape it off the file folder until you get about enough to fill up about this much of a shampoo bottle. And then you add your own mixture. Everybody's is different. I made all of this ink. All of this ink I made. And it's just as black as my street ink. This was the street. This was a single needle. This was a 13 mag. This is street ink. And I made this. And you can see this, the Virgin Mary is street ink. And this ink right next to it, the shading I made. So, I mean, it's dark. It might poison you. I don't know. It never affected me. After you collect the soot and you have it in your bottle, some people add lotion. Some people only add shampoo or conditioner. I put a little bit of water, a little bit of vitamin E oil, and a little bit of conditioner, and you shake it up. You get a rock from the yard or something small, some type of small metal ball, and you boil it so that it doesn't have any contaminants in it, and you put it in your shampoo bottle, and you just shake that stuff up for about 24 hours. Just keep whipping it up. When your forearms get to where you can't shake that thing anymore, have your celly shake it, continue that, and that next day it'll be ready. With the tattoo motors, you can use anything from a Norelco face shaver, anything that has a rotary motor or a Walkman. You bust out the Walkman, and all you take is the pancake motor. It's about this big, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking. It looks like a pancake with a pin in the center. And you take that, you take a regular pen tube, and you cut open the pen tube, and you take out the ink, and the part of the pen that has the ink in it, that's going to be your barrel. That's going to keep your needle straight so it's not bouncing around in that big pen. So you're going to heat up the ink and blow all the ink out of your ink pen, and you're going to melt that little ink liner in there just a little bit thinner and stretch it so that it's kind of hollows out that hole from being like a wider gauge to a little smaller. You feed your needle through there. You get your needle, so this spring, any spring that you would see in a lighter, any type of spring, you grab the spring like this and you stretch it out. Well, obviously, if you just pull it, it's not going to be able to, stretch out completely straight if I were to keep it like that. So you grab it on one end with toenail clippers, clean, new toenail clippers, and you hold it on another end, and you pop the socket with 2 pieces of lead. You pop, and you heat it up just enough to where it'll straighten it out. If you heat it too much, it'll break and it'll be too brittle. This little spring, I could make 3 tattoo needles out of. The guns are really small. You make them small normally because it's getting hid somewhere inside of somebody, so it's got to be tiny. They make it, they feed it through. Most people either sharpen it on the concrete or like in a groove on the wall or in the grout. Some people get, some really tiny pieces of sandpaper from maintenance. I was never that blessed, unfortunately, and you just have to keep resharpening the needle. When you can poke the needle like this into your hand, into the tough part of your skin right here on your hand, If you can touch that needle and the needle will dangle and it'll kind of stick into you like that and it'll just like boop, and it'll just kind of dangle, that's when you know it's sharp enough. You can begin tattooing.
You still, there you go. Okay.
There we go. That's how we tattoo. There's multiple other ways. Everyone has their own little cup of tea and how they do it. How we attach the little ink. So what makes the rotary spin is we use the little ink cartridge and we melt the end of it and you poke it on that pin. So when the motor spins, it's pushing that needle up and down, and that's how you're getting your motion. There are individuals, like for this nose, on this girl right here blowing smoke, on her nose, my celly for about 3 days made 2 of these springs into a feathered, like stacked little needle like this, and he melted plastic and braided it, and he made like a little prison style shader, and he just put a little bit of that ink in water, and he just whipped up that gray wash, and people have always been blown away about how smooth that's looked. If you look at right here, or some of the other ink, like right here, it looks like pepper is spilled on my arm. That style of shading is called pepper shading. That's because it's a single needle. When someone is more skilled like this person, it doesn't look like that. But I just want to say, bro, I really appreciate you having me on here. You didn't have to do that, bro. I really support you. I like what you're doing. I watch your little show on there in England. Someone sent me a link, and I really appreciate you, brother, for real.
One final thing. You said tattooing was your hustle. What were the most popular tattoos? What were people requesting you to tattoo?
White boys, skulls, cell structure, and fat asses, guns, people with bandanas or ski masks. The prison special, that's what we call it. Everybody wants to get, everyone wants to get their neighborhood, their last name, and then, obviously political ink. Not anybody can just put, white pride on somebody. Not anybody can tattoo a swastika on anybody. Obviously, those tattoos are earned. I wanted to say real quick for all the England viewers and for all the English viewers, skinheads and peckerwoods are 2 totally different things. Skinheads and woods, we both have white skin, but we sit at different tables. They have their politics. We have ours. If there's a riot, yes, we'll be in that group, but that doesn't mean that every peckerwood is going to defend those dudes. A lot of peckerwoods don't represent at all what the skinheads do. So don't think that just because, someone goes to prison that they're a skinhead if they're white, because that couldn't be further from the facts. Peckerwoods are just regular white boys that are sticking together, riding together so that we don't get extorted and raped, and we're on some Viking shit. We stick up, we work out, and we're extremely militant so that we don't make a target, and that's the facts.
People are fascinated in England by the fact that you have to put work in to earn your tattoos. Could you just explain a bit more how that works before we finish?
So something simple, I'm going to speak on, our people, and I'm talking about the Peckerwoods. First and foremost would be, an iron cross, a simple independent logo. An iron cross used to be a lot more serious than it is now. Now there's a lot of kids coming from the streets that have that, so they kind of give them a pass. An iron cross just pretty much means that you're a down-ass white boy and that you're about it and you're willing to spill blood. You beat up a couple people, some people owed some money, or you smashed a little chomo and you smashed them with hands or something. And then you step up to where, you start stabbing people. Back in the day, you had to earn letter by letter to earn your white pride. Letter by letter, whether it was a chomo or, you had to earn that shit for real. And then you got to, if it's hollow or if it's filled in, those things used to mean a lot, and back in the day in the 60s, 70s, 80s, that held weight. But whether it's black or white in Arizona really doesn't mean too much. What really means something is if it is dripping blood or if it's red. If it's red, that means something different. Then you have white boy. A white boy can't just get white boy tatted on them either. They have to be solid. They have to prove themselves. You can't just get those type of political. You can't get a peckerwood logo like that little Woody Woodpecker. You can't get that. Those are symbolisms, signs that they attach themselves to, that they call their own, and they represent that to the fullest. There's people that live, breathe, and are gonna die in there, and they're just trying to make it better for youngsters and other young individuals coming up, so that they don't get preyed upon like they used to.
So if someone comes in with a swastika and they haven't put the work in, what happens?
They're gonna get killed. If it was a skinhead, all right. So this is the big difference: is skinheads earn their swastikas and bolts and their white power and all that shit that they get. They get on the streets by reading Mein Kampf, by reading literature, by stomping out a drug dealer and getting their laces. They have different politics. It's a revolved around something different. Skinheads have to be a skinhead on the street and come to prison. You can't come to prison and be a wood and boot up. Boot up is the term for becoming a skinhead. We call skinheads boots. You can't become a boot in skinhead. Now, a skinhead can hang up his boots and say, I don't want to be a skinhead anymore. I'm going to be a peckerwood. I'm done with all this racial shit. I want to run with the woods, and I'm a white boy. Are the skinheads going to be happy about that? Absolutely not. But the white boys are a lot deeper, and the woods will smash them if they were to try to, we will accept a skinhead to come to our side and reform, and then he can earn that shit that he got on the streets. We will give him the benefit of the doubt if he is solid, if he has been on the yard, and if the dude is respected. If he's some Willie Lump, he ain't got nothing coming, and they'll cut it off of him, and that's facts. If some little hipster comes in with a swastika and he's not a skinhead and he's just a white boy, very rarely would that individual get the opportunity to put in work and earn that. For him being that ignorant and getting that and not knowing what it represents, they're going to inflict serious pain, and they're probably either A, going to cut his throat or try to cut it off or tattoo something vulgar over it. I mean, there has been some serious consequences to pay for getting fraudulent political heat.
What's the difference? Can you just explain to people between a solid teardrop under the eye and a clear teardrop under the eye, an outline?
So back in the day, if it was solid, it meant you killed somebody, and if it was clear, it meant that you had lost somebody in your organization or your gang. Now you got so many youngsters just getting a teardrop because they think it's cool. Same thing with a spider web. A spider web forever represented how many years that you had done. Now people just get spider webs thrown on. You used to see the individuals that had crazy large webs, like they're lost in time. They're just rotting away. They're in the cobwebs. They're forgotten. And that was why that became a thing. And, just like anything, when things become trendy and society starts attaching themselves to it and starts trying to use it, they want to switch shit up because they want to be different. Why the swastika is used is because it's a feared symbol. Straight up. Not every peckerwood is fucking racist. I say this constantly, and it might blow your mind that someone would have a swastika on them and not be racist, not have a racist bone in their body. But the fact of the matter is, some of these people grew up with having no anything, feeling like they belonged to anything. They didn't have a dad. They didn't know what race they were. They wanted to belong in a gang, but they weren't accepted. They never got accepted by girls. They just never accepted. So now you go to prison. The dude's wild. He's down. He's got heart. He's got camaraderie now. These brothers are accepting him. He's learning about himself and his culture and his people and how he came to this and why he climbed trees and why he was so adventurous as a kid. Because you were a white Aryan man. You're exploring. Like, they want to just force kids drugs. Let little kids be little kids. Kids explore. They do crazy shit. And when they find this, sense of, brotherhood, they want to attach themselves to it full force. And then when you have these things, this rank, and this rank is the top, of course, these dudes are trying to reach the top. And when that symbolism comes with it, and these dudes are doing, 10, 13 years, they don't see long term. It's hard to see 4 days ahead in the joint when you're doing 13 years. You feel like everything's over, and you want to be respected, and you want to have, all those things that everybody else has. You want the nice shoes and the nice watch. You want the cops to respect you and not fuck with your house. You want to get extra food when you go in the chow hall. You want nobody to fuck with you. You want 50 people following you and you being a leader. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be living like a king. Why would anybody want to be a peasant when they could fucking earn their way up and live like a king, if that makes sense? I tried to make it easier for someone to grasp that has never been incarcerated and forced to think like that. Everyone that thinks you would do something or I would do this or I would never, fucking run with the white boys. I would be by myself. Well, you would die. Your family would get a call and you would be dead, or you would be in the infirmary and you would live and they would be removing a broom mop stick out of your ass and you would have no more teeth and your face was probably ruptured in and you're going to look different for the rest of your life for what? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Wow, J Rock, you are so good at telling these stories. I think you should go and talk to school kids or young people. It would scare the shit out of them and maybe make them think twice about getting gangsteritis and getting involved in the drugs game. I salute you and I really appreciate your time. You've been so generous with your time today. We're at almost 2 hours here. So, all the people watching this who've enjoyed this video, please support J Rock. Go down to that description box below this video, click on his channel, subscribe, check his stuff out, comment, like, share his videos. Please send me an email with all of your social media links, J-Rock, and I shall put all of those down there in the description box. Now, say someone wanted to contact you, what would your preferred platform or preferred way of people getting in contact you be?
First and foremost, thank you. You're amazing, brother. I'm really proud of what you're doing. As far as the kids, what you were saying, the same juvenile hall that I served twice in when I was young, I had a woman contact me from seeing my videos, and we're trying to get something in the works to where I can speak in front of these kids. I've been off paper now for almost 5 years, and she thinks that we're going to be able to get the ball rolling. I'm really proud of that. I think that if I would have seen someone that looked like me and kind of talked like me, I think it would have affected me positively when I was young. So I hope that I can have an impact there. I wanted to say real quick to your subscribers, if any of you guys are interested in my dog content, I know how, Englishmen are about their dogs and I love it. If you guys are interested, check out my YouTube channel, Consistent Kennels. That's my dog content. My main channel is J Rock Talks. As he said before, the links will be in the description. You can email me. You can contact me at consistentkennels@gmail.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at consistent_kennels. It's consistent with an E. I know I shouldn't have to say that, but I get 5 comments a day saying, I can't find you. And they're spelling consistent with an A. But use your smartphone, people. I appreciate you guys. Big love.
Yeah, Wildman's gonna love you. He loves dogs, and his favorite job in prison was being a dog handler. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely hook you up with Wildman as well. So if you've enjoyed this video, please also subscribe to my channel. Subscription logo is in the bottom right hand corner. It's free to subscribe to our channels. It helps us on YouTube grow and get our stuff pushed out by the algorithm. Huge thank you to all the people who have subscribed and all the people who've donated on PayPal, Patreon, Just Giving. All those links are in the description box below this video. You've helped the production of the True Crime Podcast, fully recorded in studios with sound engineers and cameramen and all that stuff. You've helped me set up this home studio. Really appreciate what you've done for the channel and wishing everybody a great 2020. And we're looking forward to bringing more great content to the channel like this, like with J Rock. So cheers from London. Take care out there.